So it's the 1st of August. We're having a top lane coaching session. I've started recording. I'll upload them to YouTube as well after, like I've done previous times as well. I'll show you where to find them if you're interested. Anyway, so Jay, I'm gonna call you Jay. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Some people do call me that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll call you Jay. So you submitted this Twitch bot slash
Mm-hmm.
game for a reason, right? So what's the main concern here? Like, what's the
All right.
thing that you
So
felt?
basically, this match felt like I was really ahead. You'll see that you'll be witness of what
Mhm.
actually happened in there. I was really ahead, but at some point I felt like I was throwing the game. So it would be good to let me know from you guys what could have what if it's the way that I think it has gone, and if so, what is it that I could have done to actually prevent this?
Mhm.
Because many people are actually unaware of this sort of stuff. So I believe I could get some of that feedback, you know.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing. So should I be commenting about my actions related
No,
to the
I
duel with
mean,
Fiora and stuff? All right.
no, it's fine for now. I'm just interested a little bit. I see you have Conqueror. Is there anything in particular in your runes that you feel like is worth
Mm-hmm.
mentioning, like secondaries or anything? Is there anything you feel like it's worth? Or you're like, oh, I took, I don't know, unflinching because they have a lot of CC, or is there
Oh,
anything in
about
particular
my
you want to
runes,
mention?
yeah, about my runes, it really depends on matchups, but in this case, going for extended trades against Fiora would actually be a good idea, especially in level 1, as I started with Q. Otherwise, I would have just, pulled back, but in these illos, it was a Platinum 1 back then. I'm
Mhm.
currently at Emerald 3. But back then, I know that these people are really careless with checking on bushes and stuff or being aware of
Yeah.
these. So I just should sit in one, and if I see them just crossing by, I can just force those extended trades, which is something that I find that set exceeds so much, and it usually goes well. And those cases that never really went well, I just avoid those completely. But Fiora is one of those that I just can't win those extended trades for the most part.
Yeah.
I was with the runes. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I got your. I found
Yeah,
that you
I was
used
using
runes.
overgrowth and I was using second wind. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I usually do not change these unless in a very particular case. What was the matchup again? Because I know that there
Yeah.
was Fiora, there's Shaco,
Mhm.
there's Victor, and I know that there's an Israel as well, but I don't know the last pick. Anyway,
Yeah,
I know
so
that there's a big
Zyra is.
amount. Yeah, I know that there's a big amount of CC in the opponent team. So you suggested um
I
that
potentially
that I could
think
be using.
unflinching or tenacity. I think is probably necessary. Again, like there is a Shaco with boxes and ultimate fear.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Zyra with who's probably gonna gun
Mm-hmm.
Rylai's as well. And
Mm-hmm.
Victor as well does have W, and once he upgrades all of his
Mm-hmm.
abilities slow, so he's going to
Mm-hmm.
be slowing quite a lot. So once you do hit the team
Right.
fight stages, you definitely need
Right.
at least either unflinching or tenacity or merc treads, right?
Mm.
Which you're not going to go because you're playing against Fiora. Right?
Right. And there's an side issue that I find, and it's mostly related to how League has been changing things related to runes.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that the amount and dose of tenacity that you're getting from both unflinching and tenacity are really lower compared to other times. So yeah, I've been finding myself under situations where I'm like probably 60% tenacity and still doesn't matter because I stay like nearly 4 seconds stunned
Yeah.
and stuff, and it's kind of annoying going through that. But if I went with unflinching, yeah, I would say that unflinching is the most that I would go for in under these situations, especially if I wanted to like perform team fights.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, I was certain I was feeling like a good bet that I could just beat up Fiora and just begin
And just side
demolishing for the
laning.
most
Yeah,
part. Hmm.
exactly. But that very, very good word that you chose there, demolishing. I was gonna mention next, why are we not having demolish? Right, like I'm a big fan of demolish, and I'll
Yeah.
get to why later. But
Uh-huh.
I think that there should always be an argument of, I think when you're confident in your winning lane, you should always have demolish. Because this to me screams like, oh, I'm afraid that I'll lose lane, so I'll need second win and overgrowth to make up for
Okay.
my poor laning, right? Like
Mhm.
that's what it looks like to me. Again, when I'm in a hard matchup, I'll take double, like quote unquote non-greedy runes, right? Which is what we're having here.
Got
But and you can see that unflinching can also be seen as a greedy rune,
Mm-hmm.
because you can be like, oh, I'll play that for team fights, so you're not doing it for lane.
Mm-hmm.
So, and demolish you're doing for just getting more gold early, and then also being able to threaten towers later on.
Right.
So again, for me, both of these scream, I'm insecure in lane, and I need this to survive, or I need this to win my lane. Which again, if Fiora is a difficult matchup, then that's fine. But it sounds to me as if you're very confident in your matching or your laning against Fiora, or at
Right.
least against
Yeah.
these types of players, that you shouldn't necessarily need to have double defensive.
Got it.
Okay, that was my little rant about the the runes. Let's just get into the game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. God, that was a terrible cue. She could have landed the sweet spot.
Again, I'm mainly not even gonna be looking too much into the laning, because again, you said like you
No.
won your lane, so I'm gonna focus more on the mid game. Again, I did skim through this VOD a little bit once
Got
we
it.
got to mid game, so I know you're not gonna die here, because then you went like 4-0 and then you died.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Shaco, we knew he started top side, so roughly like 230, 245. Stay a little bit more careful on something that is a little bit slower clear, like Kindred.
Right.
It's like all the way
Right.
up to 3 minutes. And then you have to wait like 10 seconds, and then you can probably go in. Because at that
Okay.
point, she's either on the other side of the map, or they're so slow at clearing that it's technically not your fault for getting caught. But we'll get to that later as well.
Yeah, and could have anticipated. That's true. But bam, first blood.
Kill. Recall. So we get pickaxe here. Is there a reason why we're not getting Ram Scepter instead?
Come again?
Is there a reason why we're not getting Vamp Scepter instead?
Actually, I just picked the pickaxe over just thinking if I would be building Stride Breaker instead of Rune King.
Okay, that's completely
Yeah, because if I know that I'm gonna get a lead, which I was certain that would happen, I would have just changed to Stride Breaker.
Okay. I will say though, I'm not a big fan of the
Which later
controller.
on I just changed to Stride Breaker. I don't need anything like Rune King if I got a lead. There's no reason to.
I will say again, I'm not a big fan of the controller at this early on. I think it's a wasted investment. Again, it's a personal thing. I think it's a waste of
It's a
75
personal
gold.
preference. I get it.
I mean, it's only 30% of your lead. Well, kill money to be exact.
Yeah. So if you're even in CS, which we're not, so we're basically even right now. We need to farm this wave first.
We are. Yeah. I'm highly aware. Good.
Not a kill. We see Shaco
Mhm.
bot, so we can push out here.
Yeah.
Fiora shouldn't have TP because you should have used it the first time. I didn't check, but
Yeah,
I'm
she
assuming
did.
she doesn't
Yeah.
have TP, and she wouldn't have it back even if she used it. So
Mhm.
definitely can get a plate here. Can also just recall to save good tempo, but I would say like hit it once, press Q, like 1, 2, Q, and then leave.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now we're overstaying, right? Like
Overstaying, yeah.
This is
Hmm.
now screwing with our tempo, right? Like we do get 2 plates here, but it's screwing a little bit with our tempo. I would prefer just getting the one. And with demolish, you
Mm.
basically just proc your demolish and then you back off. Right? Like
That
that's
would
all
be
you're
so
doing.
strong. True.
And then you're just calling it a day.
Mm.
Because realistically, that last plate didn't really give you that much. And we're still having the controller, by the way.
Mhm.
So you would have still been able to buy exactly the same thing if you didn't buy the controller earlier and with a plate less. So you would have already been back in lane to prevent Fiora from doing whatever she's gonna do now. But
Understandable.
I think she as a champion doesn't have enough wave clear to push it in, but another champion this could be punished a lot harder. Like she would be able to
Mhm.
shove you in and then you'd be able to wait. You would give her a timer, right? Like right here, she would have already
Yeah.
shoved this in and then she would have a timer to either rotate for Herald if there's a Herald fight going on. She can gank mid if she wants to. She can recall. Like you're giving her options instead of choking her out by taking that extra plate.
Okay.
In this case, again, she doesn't have the wave clear because she's Fiora, which is her
Mhm.
weakness. So you still get to freeze it, but it is something to keep in mind against champions with better wave clear, which basically means every other champion.
Mhm.
Almost. But we'll see what it comes
Honestly,
to.
she should be at Herald.
I mean, she
Yeah,
shouldn't
though
be taking it.
Kane is not around. I can just push the wave and try to like
No,
contest that.
this is fine. This is fine. We still got to freeze
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but it's just
Yeah.
the thought behind it because I'm pretty sure this is a usual habit of you trying to go for 2 plates rather than one. I've seen a lot of set players, and most of them want to just crash the tower as quickly as possible because they just can smack it with their Qs and shit. So
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, what the fire Q? Like what?
I do also hate the fact that Riot has been buffing sets Q max instead of W max. I miss W max set.
Fix it.
Sophia should just be letting this push in. She doesn't. I will say this though, it is a little bit.
Mhm.
How do I say this? I don't want to say disappointing because that's the wrong word, but it's a little bit bad that we have to use everything to kill her. Right? I feel like we're far enough ahead that we wouldn't need to use ignite, ult, and flash just to get this
Yeah.
kill. So I want to see if there's we can find ways where it's not necessary to use
Got it.
everything. So what I mean
Got
by
it.
that is mainly after you get the ult in and the W, like just leave it here and then just you can dive her. Like you don't need to
Okay.
kill her right here.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Because let's say she recalls, she either has to teleport back or she'll
Yeah.
miss just as much as you killing her and you would still have your flash.
Hmm.
Again, I'm not sure how much you need flash on set. I haven't played set in a while. But on other champions,
Yeah.
flash can
It's
be essential. So using it for just a kill like this can prove to be a reason why you can't take a fight in about 4 minutes, right?
Hmm.
Okay, we get
I mean,
the one plate. Just
I'm
welcome to
pretty
the
sure
push
how
and
much
recall.
the set needs his flash is dependent more on the jungler and the
Yeah, the
who
team
he's
comp
going
in general.
against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Back. And until Fiora gets Divine, I think you'll just be able to pummel her down, no problem.
Mhm.
Because that's
Like in a
usually when she gets Divine is where things start.
Like in a
going
vacuum
right.
set doesn't need the flash that much, but
With Yunfir are very patient with holding abilities. Like, she's always holding her parry.
Mm-hmm. That was a bug, though.
That's a little bit of an
That
interesting
was not
hitbox.
supposed to happen. But I said, oh, well, I took it. Boom.
So here, like, I'll pause here because again, I have watched a little bit what is about to happen,
Yes.
and I'm gonna ask you here, what is the next goal, right? Like right now, you've gotten your tower, you're ahead, you're doing your thing. So
Mhm.
what should be your goal as a top laner most of the time when you get a tower before 40
Since
minutes, right?
since I got in lead, the whole idea, if things weren't that terrible, I would say just keep on putting pressure until the whole lane is pretty much destroyed. I would try to not take the inhibitor instead, because inhibitors pre 25 do not really get you as much pressure as they do when it's past 25th minute,
Mm-hmm.
because every wave is cannon wave. So like whenever a cannon wave appears, you get the super minions basically.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as I get that second, third tier as well, I would be one of my conditions because it gives gold to my team, and my laner foe isn't really doing things okay, so that would be manageable. But if there's something that stopped me from doing that, and you'll see what's about to happen, it's probably just a frustration about the whole teammates just having a bad time at getting those objectives and yada yada. So yeah, split pushing would be the smartest idea
Okay,
here,
so you're saying
according to me.
take this tower, right? Like that's as far as you
Mm,
would go. That's your
Either
goal.
that, or probably the bottom lanes first tier to begin with.
Or this one. Those
Mhm.
were your true goals.
If they want to swap, that is. Otherwise, not so much.
So I would say that that's a little bit wrong here. I think your goal should
Mm-hmm.
always to be to get this tower first. Again, this is your main goal, getting this
Mm-hmm.
tower. Do you know why? Why do I value
Not
this tower so
exactly.
much? Okay. I also value, because what I'm going to tell you to do next is first to get this tower and then try to get this tower, right? Like,
Second tiers, yeah.
yes, the tier 2 towers on the side lanes, because they are worth 550 local gold,
Okay.
which is
Mm-hmm.
about 600 gold, which is about 2 kills or a shutdown, right?
Right.
So if you get both of those, then
That's like nearly
you're
1,200 gold
usually
point.
ahead an entire item at that point. And then you've sufficiently snowballed yourself that you can either look for fights or just continue split pushing until you can win the game.
Very interesting. Yeah.
So that should be your early mid game goal, which is roughly where the mid game is about to start. Some people
Okay.
already have the definition that mid game has already started. My definition is roughly around 14 minutes is where mid game starts.
Mm-hmm. Mid game
Again,
goals.
everyone has different definitions of when their mid game starts, but for me, it's
Mm-hmm.
around 14 minutes.
All right. So,
So
all right,
that
mid
should
game
be your
goals.
goal, to get the tier 2 top tower as quickly as possible, which can happen with Demolish again by you just walking up and getting a Demolish proc, backing off, get another one, and then on the third one, you'll get the tower and you can dive them.
Awesome. All right.
Or you just kill them once, and then if you have a big enough wave, you'll usually be able to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you'll have to do it twice. And that's why I think Demolish is really good as well. Because
really
again,
is.
because you can't dive them usually, but you can usually make sure that they can't just jump on you and attack you for long enough for you to just get the demolish proc and then back off.
Hmm.
And then redo it again with the next wave.
I'm beginning to see so much sense into what you're saying, because at some point, I do go Grasp of the Undying versus certain matchups, and whenever I just beat them, I just find that I can just demolish just 2 towers at once because of that. That rune is so strong.
So let's say we kill her here for a second, right? Let's say she gets
Right.
caught and we kill her. We're probably not going to have enough time to get the tower because we kill her back at our tower.
Mhm.
But if we can kill her a little bit closer to her tower, that would be ideal. When we're slow pushing a wave in or something like that. And
Got
right
it.
now, I would say we're strong enough to 2v1 Fiora plus Shaco. Or Fiora plus Victor, or
We
Fiora plus
really
anyone.
are, yeah. I find myself capable of that.
And once we get those towers, we're probably strong enough to 1v3 if we play it correctly. Maybe even 1v4. And that's the point where I want to get you, because top lane is a very snowbally role. And if you don't take advantage
It
of
really
that,
is.
you're going to get outscaled by basically any other role. Because it's basically
Wow.
you get to take your hand into the cookie jar first,
Mm-hmm.
but as soon as you do, everyone else will put their hands in the cookie jar. And then when everyone has their hands in the cookie jar, you're either just as strong as everyone else or weaker. And that's why it can feel very frustrating when you don't get a lead, because you don't even get the chance to touch the cookie jar. This Fiora doesn't even get to touch the cookie jar this game.
Ooh, I see what you mean there.
But instead of doing what we said, which is our priority, we're just blind coin flip roaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is something we don't want to do. So this is going to be your first mistake, which is going to eventually end up in you getting killed.
I gave him at some point a shutdown. Yeah, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, you'll dive the Zyra, and then Ezreal's going to pick up the shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what we don't want to do, right? Like
And he was
taking
gonna
this
be
mid
beat,
tower
so.
is fine as a concept, but we're going in on Zyra. Okay, we kill the Zyra, but then we die to Ezreal. We lose our ult, we lose our flash, and we're now basically the game lost. Not completely, but this is where you lose the game, essentially. Because this is such unnecessary death, while we could have just been pushing top.
Just a question.
Yes.
You do see that there's a Victor in there. I just feel like at some point trying to push the waves, and I know that I have FH. If I had Hullbreaker, I would have just stayed top lane. But I don't know if I could like either beat Victor under turret, for example, or in resolutions I could have done just to keep on trying to get that tier 2.
Yeah, no, this is a perfect question. So if you cannot dive your opponent, right, or they have immaculate wave clear, which would be like a Nivea, Victor if he's good, and so on and so forth. Like they have Zonia's and it's an Nivea, bro, there's no shot. Like she'll clear the wave before you even touch the tower, so you don't get the demolish proc, and you don't get to do anything. You have two options. Either you get Hullbreaker, and then you just like get your demolish procs on every cannon wave, because usually you'll be able to get that with that. Or two, you just run bot instead. Like you try to avoid split pushing against them.
So recall and go straight to bot.
Recall and go straight to bot. If your ADC is there, I don't care. You just run bot anyway. Steal one wave, and they'll usually be gone after that. They might be mad, they might flame, they might run you down once every 10 games, but do it anyway. All
right.
Try to avoid the person that can easily stop you with as little effort as possible.
Got it.
Because the thing is this, right now you're 3 levels ahead of the Ezreal and 4 levels ahead of the Zyra.
Yeah.
By you dying, you're now only 2 levels ahead of the Ezreal, and you also got a significant gold advantage. So not only are you less ahead XP-wise, you're also less ahead gold-wise, meaning that he'll be ahead in gold by a significant amount, which basically nullifies your level lead. And then once you're level 18, he'll catch up to you slowly, right? Because level stops after a while.
There's a side thing that I find, and it's that because of the bounty that I gave him, that's going to make him ahead of probably not just me, but especially from my entire team. That's going to be an issue. And I don't want him to do that.
And a completely different problem is Ezreal in this game is one of the few people you cannot deal with, right? He has a lot of range.
Yeah.
You don't really have that much mobility. If you were playing Kane or you're playing some like assassin, you have less issues with dealing with him,
Yeah.
which means like him being fed is less of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're playing something that is very immobile and then you give a mobile long range champion with a lot of damage kills, that's going to be trouble for you.
Got it. That was fucking sick, honestly.
And then he doesn't even die from it, right? But yeah, that's the first big mistake, right? I'm pretty sure you had Hullbreaker in base here, by the way. Yeah, you did. Big error as well. You're not buying your item when you have money for it.
True.
It's
I was unaware
225.
that I recently got the gold during my spawn.
Right there, you
I
have,
had enough gold.
right there, you have the money for it, right?
Yeah, and
again,
I just skipped it.
This is gonna be a big mistake if you ever touch a tower, or even look to a tower, or even stay alone and you fight someone, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's one of those days, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, we killed the Victor. We can finally get the tower. No, we cannot. Again, second time. We should have already at least gotten the tower or gone bot and gotten that tower. Like, at this point of the game, you should have gotten one of the tier 2 towers. Sometimes you're not able to, and especially in higher elo, if I'm playing as split pusher, I'll do my very best, no matter what lane I am, to prevent you from getting those. Because that's the goal for me as a split pusher, so I know it has to be the goal for other split pushers. So you want to prevent them from doing that. But in this case, nobody's actually defending it.
Yeah.
Victor did the first time, but right now nobody actually cares.
Got it.
So right now you should have been hitting the tower again.
I agree.
But instead we're doing whatever this is. And we're basically flipping again, right? Like we're taking the burger and we're starting to flip. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flip again, flip again, flip again, right? Like this is so unnecessary. So we lose flash again for nothing. We don't even kill the Shaco at the end of the day. And we didn't get the tower, right?
Yeah, that was a big loss.
And you can be like, oh, but why can't I do anything? Well, because you're not ahead enough, right?
Yeah.
It's a mistake on Ezreal's part not recalling. I think this guy's been on the map for I don't know how long, with like probably like 2,000 gold on him.
Got it.
But we shouldn't have to be like, oh, Ezreal hasn't recalled, let's fight before he recalls. That comes later. We first have to do our job, right? Like you get to do whatever you're doing now once those 2 towers have been taken. Once tier 2 towers have been taken, then you get to look for dumb fights. Because then there's no more free 1,200 gold on the map.
Yeah. You have no idea how grateful I feel for this, because I was rather unaware of how much gold a second tier actually gives you. That's so much.
It's only the side lane.
I would take that bet.
It's not the mid lane one. And it's only if you get it solo, like it's what do you call it? Not approximately. It's when you're close to it. It's proximity. It's proximity gold. So if you and your jungler are there, you each get like 275. But if you're getting it alone, which again, if you're split pushing, especially with Hullbreaker, you usually will be, then you get the full 600. Finally, at 19 minutes, we're finally hitting the tower, and it's going down really quickly, right?
Yeah.
See? Right there, even 600.
Yeah, that's so much. 600 gold, yeah.
See it again, just to make sure that we're not doing the math incorrectly here. So 480. 485.
And I bet all of that gold goes for the team as well.
The 50 gold goes to everyone. The 550 goes to
you. Just the 50 gold. Oh shit.
Yeah. This is the proximity gold. This is the global gold. So every turret is worth 50 gold for everyone. He gets 50, he gets 50, he gets 50.
So if anyone's around, they just split the gold.
Yeah, exactly. If Kane is here, you divide this by 2, and you get one, he gets one.
Okay, good.
But usually, again, since we're split pushing, that means we're usually allowed, and we usually can second this 550 ourselves.
That's so much, though.
Yeah, so those are our goals, and then we would have been on 3 items already, by the way, at this point in the game, because we wouldn't have been doing dumb shit here and not here. And then we would have gotten both of these towers, and then you can actually be a full item ahead of what you are right now and not have given away the 800 gold to Ezreal. Again,
Right.
maybe if you do it, you die somehow anyway, but then at least you would be like 1,500 gold richer, right?
Yeah. It's Sonia's though. Smart move. Should have just taken that tower.
So, what is our next goal now? Now that we've gotten the tower, what's our next goal?
Since you've mentioned it, I believe that the smartest thing to do was just to go bot lane and take that tier 2.
Yes, sir. We recall, and then we go bot.
Got it.
We get that tower. And then you can decide whether or not you want to split push away from the main objective or split push close to it to rotate
Yeah.
it. That's up to you.
I got
Again,
myself anticipated, yeah.
it's whether or not you feel like, oh, can I 5v5? Can I 4v5? Can they 3v5? Like, whatever you're like what you think is the best way of action to fighting the next team fight, that's where you're supposed to split it after. But first, I want you to get the tier 2 towers.
All right.
Okay, so we go bot. And then we go back to
No, I had to recall because Yasuo stood in bot lane instead.
Yeah. And for the future games, I don't care what your Yasuo does. Just go there, fight him off the wave if you have to, ping your hull breaker, like whatever you need to do, just do it.
Okay.
So right here, you should probably just recall, get your Titanic Hydra on the map, and then
Yeah,
go
I
bot.
had enough gold. Just don't realize it.
You have enough gold right now, so get your item on the map and then try to reclaim your bot lane, right? Like reclaim your bot and then just push bot. Because again, this is valuable time we're wasting and giving everyone else time to put their hands in the cookie jar, right? Like right now, you're still this is the cookie jar. Your hands is in it, your hand is in it, Ezreal's hand is in it. Everyone else is just like playing on the playground, not realizing there's a cookie jar. For every minute you and Ezreal are eating the cookies,
yeah,
that's when people are like, oh, there's a cookie jar. I have now gotten my items and I can also put my hand in the cookie jar. And then if there's enough hands in there, your hand just gets out because you're not strong enough to be in the cookie jar. They're going to push you away. And then we don't want that. We want to have all of those cookies for ourselves, our cookies.
Right. Oh, wow.
And then once you've eaten all the cookies, the nexus of the enemy team explodes, right? So we still haven't recalled, still haven't gotten our third item on the map, but we want to fight anyway. Which I don't have to tell you isn't a good idea.
No.
So we probably die again.
No, I lived.
Maybe not.
Okay. I had to make my own sacrifices, which means flash and cooldown.
Exactly. Again. Flash on cooldown, ult on cooldown. Right?
Yeah.
For basically nothing. I will say this if someone comes after me at some point and be like, oh, but this game I should have stayed around on the map and done this. Yes, but realistically, 9 times out of 10, if you have an item and base, you recall, you get your item on the map, right? There's going to be very few specific situational games where someone can argue for, oh, but you should have stayed on the map here. I would rather you be wrong 1 out of 10 times than 9 out of 10 times.
Perhaps, I mean, it's pretty obvious that I gotten way too empathic with the teammates.
Yeah. You need to stop focusing on what your teammates do. You just need to find your train track and stick to it, right? You follow the railroad. You don't care if there's a squirrel on the side of the railroad. You follow the railroad to the end of the destination. And if it happens to be like someone on the side of the railroad with a shotgun who shoots your train, well then unlucky, right? Which is sometimes going to happen, and that's when you have the AFKs, the griefers, you name it, right?
Yeah. But seems like what you're trying to say here is that it is beyond my responsibility right there.
Yes, like your Yasuo getting caught, I don't care. That's not your problem. Like, yeah,
Got
maybe they get Baron for this, but again, our goal is first to get the tier 2
Those
towers.
tier 2s, yeah.
Yes, and as Mr. O has said here in the chat, also don't run towards Baron if your jungler is staying bot. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
And if
So
we
I
didn't die
decided
to
to just
Ezreal
ignore
earlier
Israel.
here, yeah, if we didn't die to Ezreal earlier, maybe we can dive him here. I don't think we can right now, but
Just destroy the turret. Yeah, I can just ignore him.
bonk, another 600. Woo!
That's so
600
much, though.
gold, yeah! Shut down. Yeah, shut down the turret. Wonderful. The only problem is, by the time you got to it, they already have Dragon Soul.
Yeah, that's an issue.
That's an issue.
Yeah, and a terrible one, yeah.
So even though you're really strong right now, you've already basically weakened yourself because you could have been stronger and not given time to the others to catch up.
Right, I understand.
So that's the essential reason why you end up losing this game.
I understand there. I am. Just a quick question. Does this apply specifically for top laners, or this is the solo queue way to actually just be consistent at winning games?
This
Even when you
applies
got
to most top laners and most split pushers. This does not apply to your Malphites. This does not apply to your Ornn who wants to just carry team fights. This applies to you who can safely be in a side lane and get pressure in the side.
Right.
Whether that's an assassin, whether that's a bruiser, like people who like to be in the side lane. So mostly not ADCs and mages, and some mages can, like Ryze, for example, is a great split pusher.
Yeah.
But most mages and ADCs are not allowed to play like this because they can get caught in the side lane in a 1v2 or just get run down very easily. Meanwhile, you as a tankier assassin or a tankier bruiser or a very slippery assassin can very easily deal with being overextended in the side lane. Obviously, if you're allowed to do it as an ADC or a mage, go for it, right? Like, let's say everyone's just brawling around Herald at 12 minutes and your bot lane, yeah, of course, take the tier 2 tower bot if you're alone and you know it's safe.
Right.
100%. But it's the easiest way, it's the least risky way of getting free gold that always is there. There's every game you have the 1,200 gold lying there. You're not every game going to have a free bounty running around that you can get, which is sometimes going to be your objective as well, especially if you're an assassin. But every single game, no matter game state, you're always going to have 1,200 gold to cash in.
One last question related to tiers. Basically, I'm now aware that second tier gives you 600. What about the third tier?
Third tier is normal 250, like every other tower.
250. Got it.
But the main thing is,
that's
once
so
you get to those,
though.
they're still rather safe to take. Once these towers are down now, you have to commit quite far into the side lane and pressure quite hard before you're not allowed to be there. You're usually allowed to be in this sector, like the yellow sector, quite often, no matter what everyone else is doing. But once you're in the red sector or purple sector here, it's a lot more risky of, like, they don't have to expend much to just catch you out as 5 men without your team being in a position. If your team
They're
is
way
not
too
in a
close
position,
to their base.
Exactly. If your team is not in a good position to do Baron, instantly, as you get engaged on, they usually can afford to send a lot of people to get you without being punished, right? You have to wait for your team to be in a position to pressure before pressuring.
I try to make things as simultaneously as I can. Bam.
I will say while you're pushing, just thank you. Just do a quick look, assess the situation. Is somebody low? Can they really do Baron? Or is my team just dying? Like in
Yeah,
this
3
case, they
guys
were.
dead. So
Even though I think you could have maybe moved at some point, but it's fine. We
Mhm.
made a decision. We'll get the mid inhib, and then we'll probably die for it.
yeah, I got the exhaust.
Okay, that's fine. We still got the inhib.
The
That's fine.
inhibitor, yeah. That would
So
stop them for a brief
yeah.
while at least.
So now you just go bot. You try to pressure here, and then pray to God your team can do better. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's your current goal. We can talk about your build after as well if you want. But
The thing is, I don't know why Kane was a bot lane.
No, it shouldn't be. Don't show. Just let him die.
Yeah, but it decided to just go in, took a...
Yeah, no,
another-
you should have just let him die here. This is,
Right.
again, why are we even fighting this? Right? Like, it turns out to somehow have worked out, which again, I guess just set stuff, just being able to do 2000 true damage.
2000 true damage over stunning
But
and giving it with a sweet spot.
realistically, you don't really want to do this, and you even lost your flash in the
Flash
process.
again.
Which
Yeah, it's
again,
so annoying.
let me ask you this: for who do you think I want you to keep your flash for?
Israel.
Or
let me check who was there. It's the Shaco. There's Fiora, maybe.
no, you don't need flash for Fiora.
No, I'm not sure. I thought it would be better for Israel just to reposition myself.
The Ezreal is one person, but there's two people in the enemy team where I'm like, okay, it's okay using flash to kill either of them.
Probably Shaco.
No, you can probably kill Shaco without flash.
Especially if he goes in. Yeah, I got it. I don't think it's gonna be Zyra, or is she?
No, it's Victor, right? Like it's their carries, right? Like okay, if Zyra's a little bit more fed, then maybe Zyra as well. But in this case, it's Ezreal, definitely. Like 9 out of 10 times, I want you to save your flash to kill Ezreal if you can. And then the one time I'll give it to you to like Victor, right? Mainly because he's the secondary threat, usually. Sometimes it's gonna be Zyra, but usually it's the mid laner, right? Like ADC mid laner usually are the people you need flash for. Obviously, if you're playing as the Quinn top lane or something, then maybe her as well. But
yeah.
But I'm looking for the immobile, or in this case also mobile ranged carries.
Yeah.
Those are the people you're usually gonna have to expend your flash because they already get the advantage of starting the fight off ranged with you.
And this is where things really got really frustrating because I know that the Elder Dragon was about to spawn, so I'd be like, okay, so let me just get my last item. Let's get the hell out of there. The issue is, I know for a fact that my top lane is not putting pressure. It's going to bounce back and to begin with. And yeah, before I get there, I see my teammates dying. And then I realize, well,
I needed a press tab. Before you recall there, I needed a press tab. So like, Dragon is up in 36, right?
30 seconds, yeah.
In 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So you have 30 seconds, maybe a little bit more. I need to know how long Baron buff extends here. Like how long do they still have Baron? Or if not, how long? How many?
I
people
believe
still
that
have
Baron by that time. I'm not sure, but I do believe that the Baron buff was already gone.
Because you have two options here, right?
Yeah.
One is fight the Elder, right? Recall, fight the Elder, or try to end the game, right? Those are your options.
Yeah.
And I will actually have to say, I think you just try to end it by going top.
Yeah,
obviously, this is more of a like, oh yeah, okay, I know you lose the game, so you probably lose by going to fight it. But you got to pick, right? So you already got to pick. You did use an important ultimate for it though, so he's kind of out of the fight, even though it looks like he's doing fine. So it's basically
and there was
one
so much time they spent stalling for the whole Elder Dragon. If I kept on putting pressure, they would have had to back.
More importantly, you have no defense against magic damage whatsoever. and
Force of nature would have been good.
a lot of their team fighting damage will be you taking plant damage, you taking Victor lasers, Ezreal Qs, Ezreal Ws. Like
Got it.
there's a decent chunk of magic damage, and you lose a lot of it because you're going to be close to allies. So your Hullbreaker doesn't really give you that much defense. So I think you
No.
just in this case you have 30 seconds, right? If they still have Baron buff recalls, they have 4 people with Baron buff recalls, which they don't because I saw that Zyra was dead probably.
Yeah.
So she didn't.
Yeah.
So at most they have 3, probably 2 at most. Then you just have to hope that your team can delay the recalls after Elder has been taken, that you can end the game.
That would be so good.
Which again also is possible. Okay, let's see here. So they have Ezreal, they have Ezreal and Fiora are the 2 people with Baron buffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll see how long like this fight drags on. And this is with you being there, so I'll like subtract like 5 to 10 seconds, right?
Yeah.
But the fight is basically over here, and then they would just end the game here, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But they would still go to Baron at this point. Like, let's say someone's still alive, like Kayn is still alive. They're not going to run mid. They're going to try to do Elder and then run mid, usually. Obviously, that's not the correct play, but that's usually
they decided. They decided to end the game as soon as they saw that I was the only one left.
So you have at 30-15, right? 30?
Yeah, 30-15.
And you have 50 seconds because that's how long it is until he respawns Victor. Which means you have around 5 seconds to 10 seconds after Victor respawns, because that's roughly how long it will take for him to kill you, is what I would guess, right? 5 to 10 seconds. So right here you have at 3:15 plus 55. So this plus 55, that is -4 plus 1 minute. That's 31:14. That's how much time you have if they can stall for that long, that is, right? Which we're about to find out if they can, right?
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, that roughly hits on it. They can stall roughly to that amount. So the question is, do we think we can end the game in that time period, right? That's the call you're making. You're making the call, the decision in your head here.
A whole minute to actually end the game.
You have 1 minute here to end the game. Right? That's the time.
I mean, I have pressure because of a Titanic Hydra. I have Hullbreaker, and every wave is going to be cannon.
Yes, so you would have to ping, obviously. This is what you're going for. And also you have to make the decision right here, like at this very moment before recalling, before pressing the B button, you have to make the conscious decision, okay, fuck it or not, right? Like, do I go for it or not? I can't tell you what the correct player is, right? Because some games it's going to be to fight the Elder, others it is, fuck it, go for the back door.
Got it. Besides, I have no wave whatsoever.
Yeah, especially if they don't have towers or less than 2 towers, the decision usually becomes easier. Because if they have no towers, you don't need the wave, right? If they have no towers, you can just run straight there, like beeline it. If they have 1 tower, some champions can deal with like 1 tower on like 30% HP pretty easily. Others cannot. I'm not sure if you would be able to have the damage with Demolish, maybe. But in this case, you definitely need the wave. And you definitely need to rely on your team to stall for longer, right? Because if someone recalls, your time is up, right? It's like,
so should I have used of the pings as well?
Yeah, definitely. You're pinging too little, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize about that. Forgot the bot.
Yeah, so the reason why I think you should have just gone top and tried to finish the game, obviously I can be like, I know the result, so you're going to lose by doing this. But I have not gotten the impression that your team is competent enough at this stage of the game to successfully do a 45, right? Like do a 45. So it is up to you when you're the only person that you think, again, I didn't press tab yet, but I can check the post-screen lobby because scores are not going to change that much. The only person that realistically is doing semi, right? Let me grab that so you can see it as well. Was the King. And he used everything. He's basically dead as well to get a pick. So you basically owe him either to say you can 1v4 the next fight,
Yeah.
or you can end the game. Those are the options you have. If you cannot 1v4 the fight, 1v4, which again, you're probably going to be weaker considering you have someone close to you that's going to be
Hullbreaker,
useless.
yeah.
So it might even be like a 1v5 at that point. Then you should be trying to end the game.
Okay.
Again,
Interesting.
it's gonna be a thing you have to learn through experience.
Yeah.
But let's see what
I'm
happens.
hardly aware.
So he didn't recall, so Kane is like half HP with no ult. Alistar already goes in, your Yasuo's not even close. So it's a 3v4 at the moment. Or 2v4, because again, Kane is basically dead. Your Alistar went in.
Back. Yeah.
Alistar went in, so now it's a 1v4. Samira's doing 1v4. Meanwhile, she basically loses 1v1 to Fiora, which she does because she's 4 levels down. And then now we're doing the 1v4ing, right? Which I said we were going to have to do anyway.
Yes.
And we're not able to because Ezreal has Flash, we don't. Let's see when we used Flash.
To get away from that fight, yeah.
In this fight that we shouldn't have taken to begin with.
Got it.
So that also adds up to us not being able to follow Flash here and kill the Ezreal. Because I believe potentially if you hit this, again, I'm not sure how much
he would have blown away. Yeah. I have so much damage right there.
You obviously have to hit the true damage part, but
yeah.
It wasn't fully. It was like 60-70%, but that's still like at least 2,000 damage.
That would make him live limping. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very low, and if you can then press E on him after, right? Yasuo can ult, and then he dies, guaranteed. Like even though Yasuo is useless, if he presses ult, you get.
I mean, he's facing an 80 carry, so yeah, he should be able to do that as an assassin.
And he has Gale Force as well, so all he would need to do is press ult and Gale Force, and then Ezreal dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, like even that damage, I think is enough. Even though it was nothing, it should have been enough to kill him there. And maybe you can play it out, right? But again, we didn't have Flash, which is also a thing I would probably consider when doing plays like this. Is like, do I have everything up? Like, can I really? Because you will need everything. You will need your Flash, you need your Ghost, you need your Ignite. Whatever it is you need to fight team fights, you'll need it. Guaranteed.
Got it.
Which, again, should have made this decision pretty easy for you. I hope that helped you a little bit. We'll give you a little bit of a spreadsheet here, as we always do here. A little bit of a ranking system. Rename it. Yeah. You want the full name? Oh, I can give you the full name. J. There. Right, so it's August 1st, right? August 1st. Champion is that. Matchup is Aura. So, okay. Let's check here. So we had how much farm? 275 at 32 minutes. That's good. Dating, I think was it was okay. It was good. I didn't really see anything too problematic with that. I think wave understanding was also good. I think you were freezing when you were supposed to. Camera control.
Got it.
Can be a little bit better. Let's say it was okay, but it can be a little bit better. But it always can. So prioritization, I'll leave as non-applicable. We can go back and check it a bit. Mechanics, not really that mechanically intense champions. So I'll leave it as okay on both.
Got it.
Recalls. Anyone have a good recall? I mean, I guess we can take the last one, but I think that's more of a decision making of making the conscious decision of fighting it more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say it needs some work again, mainly because we graded for the plate and then basically
I get
had
it.
bad recall because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
objective control, applicable. Vision, don't care. Communication definitely needs to be better. Assessment, again, it's whether or not you want to flip it or not. Really, I
Mhm.
will say the assessment in the early mid game is more of a problem, which again because you were unaware of what your goals, so you wouldn't be able to follow them. So your assessment becomes poorly because of it.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
I get it.
But now that
Mhm.
you know what you're supposed to look out for, I can do a better assessment judge for the next time, right? For the next one that you'll send me eventually.
Yeah.
So let me see if I have some good examples. See, like I have other examples here where I grade the next time. So the first time is the first one, and then we can see if like have you gotten better at anything or has something else lacked
Gotten
down while
worse,
you're
maybe.
focusing. Yeah, because if I'll tell you right now that I think your main thing should be focusing on communicating more your intentions, and then also
Okay.
your assessment of actually following what I've told you, right? Like go for the tier 2 towers, and then you can
Mhm.
try to
Making
make
sure
up
that I
your
get the
mind.
job done before
Yeah,
doing anything
yeah.
else.
So do that first, and then you can worry about your decision making of what to do.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
So roaming, don't care. Jungle tracking, don't care. I guess
No, no way you gave him North American rating. No, he gave you an A.
Yeah. Okay, jungle tracking, I will give a little bit worse here. Like needs a little bit work just because of the level 3 gank on Shaco. Again, try to avoid those. Other than that, it's fine. Team
Okay.
fighting, I didn't focus on it, so we'll go get to those points later. I think those are less important. Now to notes and homework.
I got him
There
noted
we
here.
go. Yeah, exactly. So get to tier 2 towers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's actually if it's both, it's gonna be 1200. It's so good.
Yeah, I mean each is worth 600 gold, right? But
Mm-hmm. Got it.
yeah, I think that's like the main thing again, especially with this VOD, that I can see where it's like that's really your homework / notes for this. I didn't really look too much on the matchup specifics. Again, you won your lane, so there's not really much to look out for there. In other games where you will lose lane or you'll go more even, I'll probably go a little bit more in on how you lost lane, or I guess how you didn't hard win your lane,
Uh-huh.
where we can like get more out of it. But in this case, we won lane, but we didn't know what to do with the lead, right?
Yeah, that's
And
true.
as long as you feel like you mainly can get the lead, that's not where we're focusing our current focus on. Like we're not putting our focus into how to get the
we
lead;
need
it's
to
how
push
what to do
those
with
leads
it.
further.
Exactly. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, again, we can say first, then
Go bot lane, yeah.
yeah, avoid people. I hope you know what that means. I can give you.
If there's a specific champion that has the ability to
Yeah, to
clear the
prevent you from
wave,
getting the thing, or
yeah,
you cannot
before-
dive it, then try to
Yeah.
avoid them. Yeah.
yeah.
There was one more thing that I noted down. We didn't. Yeah, so. And what I mean by this, like no inhibitors unless it's free, like it is like pre 24 minutes, right? As you said, is they usually are a bait thing for you to overextend. So unless there's a dragon fight going on and you just kill the Fiora, like let's say, go back a bit. Yeah, and right here, like this, they're fighting here, and like this is earlier. Obviously, this is 22 minutes.
Yeah, there's no point in going there.
But let's say we'll go back a little even further here. Like let's say here there's a dragon fight. You just 1v1 the Fiora, and they're fighting on dragon. You already took this tower, and you're up here for some reason, right? Like even though we shouldn't, we just took the tower. You can go for the next one as well. Obviously, again, as you said earlier, pre 25 minutes taking inhib is not that great.
It's not great, yeah.
I will say if you're behind, try to do it anyway, just to get some pressure on the map. That you can maybe see if you can get
When
a lucky
things are
ace.
critical.
Get a
yeah.
lucky ace, then you have automatic pressure on the lane, so you can just run up to it, TP to it, whatever, and then end the game through that. But
Very
usually
interesting.
we'll try to avoid taking inhibitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, 325. Also, I will say taking inhibitors in the same scenario as earlier. So let's say you took the tiered inhib tower because they were fighting on dragon, but they're still
Mhm.
fighting. Just continue, right?
Yeah.
See if you can get a Nexus tower as well, especially with demolish.
That would be
right?
interesting, yeah, getting the Nexus towers.
But again, that's very rare situations where that happens, but it will happen.
Mhm.
Or just keep that in mind.
I mean, if I have the chance to be a ticking bomb and force them to back, good.
Yep, that's all about all I had. I'll ask if there's anything you want on the recording. Other than that, I'll probably
Personally, I
just
have no
stop it here.
questions. I don't know if companions here do have.
Do we have any questions whatsoever?
Doesn't look like it.
I'll take that as a no. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for